Today is September 19th, 2011, and we are gathered at the Weaver residence in Aiken, South Carolina. Today, in conjunction with the United States Library of Congress and the Augusta-Richmond County Historical Society, we will hear the story of George L. Weaver, a U.S. Navy veteran of World War II. I am Bill Tilt, and I will conduct the interview, and assisting with the interview is Stan Schrader. First of all, Mr. Weaver, we want to thank you for participating in our program. And why don't we just start with you telling us a little bit about where you were born and where you grew up and what you were doing prior to getting involved in the service.
Well, I was born in Aiken County. Aiken County down there around Montmorency and on my grandfather's farm, right? And you know, back in that day, things kind of tough. And on the farm, and so in order to get education, I didn't have the money, so I had to wait till you, in other words, like you start the school now in September, we boys out there, we couldn't start the school until get the farm together.
Well, the education was all segregated in South Carolina at that time, right?
Right.
So you grew up on a farm.
Yeah, I grew up on the farm, right.
Born in 1923.
23, that's right.
So you lived through the Depression too, right?
I mean, Great Depression.
Yeah.
Right. And so everything was kind of serious then, for special blacks to get. And like I said, it was on the farm. And
What kind of, you say your grandfather's farm, what kind of farm was it? What did you grow?
Oh, everything.
There was a little bit of everything.
Cotton, corn, peas, and cotton, corn, peas, peanuts.
Big family?
Well, no, it wasn't too big a family, but it just had to do a lot of work.
Yeah.
Right. Me and my father and my uncle was on the farm. I grew up, I started work when I was 6 years old.
My goodness.
Yeah, and like I tell my kids, you know, they can't believe, you know, I look at this 6-year-old kid now, he can't do nothing, but I started work when I was 6 years old. And what happened, we was living on the farm, and my grandfather and my uncle, and I wasn't big enough to do nothing. And then we had our mules, you know, and plowing and.
So you plowed with mules, not tractors, huh? You plowed with mules.
Yeah, mules then, but me so little, my grandfather and my uncle, they were plowing the mules, and they had to put out what they call fertilizer for the cotton in the rows, you know. And they had the distributor to put out the fertilizer in the roads. Okay. And they had the Guyana, the material there would put it on the wagon and go across the roads, middle of the field. You see, like the roads go straight this way, and how far the roads went. And then what they do, they go halfway of the roads and leave sacks out, you know, with sacks all around, you know, like that, okay, so many rows apart, okay, and I was 6 years old, and so I couldn't do nothing, my grandfather and my uncle, I couldn't do nothing, but what they would do, they would have these big buckets that you fill up with Guyana, so my uncle, I couldn't do nothing but they kept opening the sack for me, and I couldn't do nothing. They set the bucket there, and I just raked the ground and fill up the bucket, you know.
So you were in charge of filling up the bucket, huh?
Yeah, I just fill up the bucket, and when I get it, he come back down, and he come and get it and empty it, you know, and bring it back, sit it down there, and I just.
But you say you were working on the farm. When did you go to school, and where did you go to school?
Schofield. Well, you couldn't go to school until you finished the farm. You know, and back in then, it's kind of boys would be, I look at the time now, you know, boys finish school, you know, and other back then, you finish high school 11th grade,
Mm-hmm.
and at least the blacks did.
Everybody did, I think.
11th
South
grade,
Carolina.
and sometimes they would be 20 years old for to finish high school because they had to go after their finish farming, you know.
So you had to work first, and then
Yeah.
when your work was done, you could go to school.
Yeah, go to school. Get the cotton, but then you go to school.
And you say you went to Schofield School, and that was that a public school or what was?
No, that was school. Well, what happened, you see, in Aiken County didn't have no high school for black.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. All you could get was the 7th grade, you know. And then that was, you go ahead and lose. In other words, what happened, they, even in the county, you had to go to school in the churches. You see the point? And I can remember real good. When I first started the school out there, I was about 7 years old, started school, and Miss Bradley, what the churches and thing would do, they let you have school in the churches and things like that, because they didn't have no school for blacks.
Uh-huh.
You see, the whites had school, but they didn't have school for blacks. And the church would let you have school in the churches, you know. And their society buildings like that, that you have schools in there.
Uh-huh.
And I can remember real well one of our school teachers in down here at Oak Grove Society Hall. That was a Netherlands society, and they let us had school in there, and it was 2 rooms, and all the whole community had to go to that school with 2 rooms, and the boys had to stand up on the wall and their let the little ones sit down, you know, and they had to take turns and sit down a while and then get up.
So you didn't have enough desks or seats even, huh?
No, at just 2 rooms with all the community in there, you know. The boys had to stand around the wall. And so the Oak Grove Society let them have school there, but didn't have a 2 room. So Miss Bradley, I never forget her. See her back. She come down there and it just packed full, children and little ones and big ones, and she had all the boys were standing up around the wall, and she come there. She said, "My God," she said, "this is shame and a disgrace." I never forget. So my father, he was a deacon down to our church, and she knew him. So she said, "Tell your grandfather I want to talk to him." And so I told Pa, and so she had a meeting with Pa, and so they took her have school in the church. You know, church was big, you know, but everybody was in there. Wasn't no separate rooms, you know. And so I told Pa, and they got together and left out that place down there at Oak Grove Society, and went to our church there, Mount Rizzo Baptist Church down there, and having a school in it. And she told Pa, it's a disgrace. I mean, she was a woman, she was a school teacher, and she had great courage, you know.
Uh-huh.
And we was having school there. And so then, that was a kind of problem too, because went up to 7th grade and all the grades was in that same one room. And so she said, "This is bad, this is bad, this is bad." I never forget. D-Bell and Roy Summer, they was trustees, you know, in the community, you know. And so she said, "This is still bad. I mean, you know, and small children, you know, sometimes they get uncontrolled, you know, and especially the first graders, you know how small kids are, making noise, and then
How about school supplies? Was there enough books and pencils and paper? And that
well, we had to get the book from the whites.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I mean, like they had leftover books,
Hand me down type.
Yeah,
thing.
hand-me-down books,
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
right.
Okay.
And they gave us books then, you see the point. And then we stayed had in church, and so Miss Bradley said, this is still a disgrace. This is still a grace. They had about 2 sessions there. She said, this is a mess. So she, Mr. D-Bell and Roy Summer, they was trustees in the community. And so she said, I got to have a meeting with them. And so called the meeting, and them and all the church deacons and thing came in the meeting, and she preached a sermon to them down there. And so D-Bell, they was trustees, and they told us, well, I tell you what, we're going to talk about it and see what we can do. And she explained to them about, the one building, all of that, And he said that we gonna see if we can do something about it. Okay, they got together, and then when they let us know this, well, I tell you what, if somebody give the land, then we put up a building. And so Mr. Reddick Harley, he not far from the church, he had a place down there. And so he gave 3 acres of land to put a building on. And they put up a 3-room building there for the school, right down below the church there. So she come down there, and after all, some of them said they were going to, had to do something about it, and we got Mr. Reddick, and he gave the land to build a school.
Uh-huh.
And so they built a 3-room building, and that's how we got out the church.
Was that that lady, the Quaker lady you were telling us about?
No, this
is grammar school.
This is grammar school. This is a school teacher.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
okay.
right.
Local.
The Quaker lady, she was had Schofield.
And that was the high school.
Yeah, that's high school,
Gotcha.
right? Schofield,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
And the Quaker was an organization,
Yeah.
that looked out for blacks, and everything like that. So she came down, and she established 11th grade high school at Aiken, right? So then when we finished down there in 7th grade, then we could come to Aiken, but we had to pay. You see the point? Because county didn't have no money. In fact, the county didn't have no high school for blacks.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Only thing they had was come up to 7th grade, and then that was it. To go anywhere else, you had to pay for it.
Okay. So you went to this Quaker-run high school.
Yeah.
Did you graduate from the school, or?
Well, I tell you what, I went until I got to 9th grade, and then actually when I went in the service, I was just in 9th grade.
Okay. How did you get into service? Were you drafted, or did you enlist?
I was drafted.
Okay. Do you remember Pearl Harbor? Do you remember when that happened?
Yeah, I remember when Pearl Harbor was in 45.
No, 41.
41, right,
Yeah.
41, right,
Yeah.
41, right.
Did a lot of people in Aiken enlist in the Army right away, or?
Well, few of the black boys drafted, but my grandfather owned the farm, and so you could get the fud. Yeah, get the fud off the farm. So I got the fud, that's really now it's so legal, I got the fud until Hitler declared that he was going to eat breakfast in the White House, and that killed all of the fud.
So when your deferment ran out, you got drafted. Huh?
Yeah, I got drafted then. I got drafted
okay.
then, right.
And about what time, when were you drafted? Towards the end of the war, wasn't it?
It was 44, I believe it was.
April 44?
Yeah, all right.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Right.
44 or 45?
45.
45. 45.
45. April 45.
Yeah, 45.
And that was right towards the end of the war.
Yeah, right,
So
right.
so now all of a sudden you get a letter and said you got to go in the service.
Yeah.
Where did you report to? Where did they
Mean after I put in service?
no, when they sent you this letter, where were the
To
instructions?
the courthouse.
You go to the courthouse in Aiken, huh?
Yeah, courthouse naked.
And
right.
did you know what you wanted to do when you got drafted? Did you have
Well,
a preference for the Army?
I
or
tell you what
Navy?
happened to me. Them Army boys, you know, they had it come home, you know, with these brown suits on, and they had the boys wore tan shoes, you know, man. They had their hat on their head, you know, and me and my friend, all us together, when we got up there and found out they had to be drafted, you know, we said we was going in the Army. Yeah, we wanted to go to the Army. And both of us got drafted at the same time. Three of us got drafted at the same time. And we said we was going to the Army, and man, I bought my tan shoes and everything, wear that brown suit, you know, and and got here to Aiken, and they were telling you which way where you going, you know. And they sent him to the Army and sent me to the Navy. And boy, that was a heartbreak.
So your buddy went there. You had just bought some new shoes too,
Yeah,
huh?
I had bought tan shoes, you know. Then I didn't like the uniform the Navy wore, you know, because they had on these white caps and these little tight pants, you know. And they messed me up real bad.
That's funny.
So I told him, I said, I can't get a Navy. He said, well, he said, their Navy got to have their men's too, you know. And so then, but I tell you what's happening. They were sending the black boys in the Navy as student mates, you know. And all they did, wait on the officers, you know, cook for them and everything. But they did learn you. After Nora Miller, I don't know if y'all read about Nora Miller. Nora was a black boy on cook on the ship, you know, and he shot on that ship, you know.
In Pearl Harbor.
In Pearl Harbor,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Right. So then after that, before then, blacks couldn't get in the Navy. And so after that, then they let them go in the Navy, but they went in as student mates.
Okay.
Yeah, they went on officers, you know, like that. But they did learn him how to shoot that little same gun that Dora Miller shot.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here we are now. You're in Aiken, and they say you're going to be in the Navy, huh?
Yeah,
And,
we'll be in the Navy.
and then there you are saying, "Whoa,
Yeah.
where did they send you to learn how to be a sailor?"
The Bainbridge.
Bainbridge, Maryland.
Yeah, Bainbridge, Maryland.
That's
right.
where you took boot camp.
And
huh?
where I took boot camp, right there.
What do you remember about Maryland?
Well, Maryland, we didn't go off the base too much, you know, take training down there. And so when we got through my training, they gave us a leave home. And when I went back, then they ready to ship us overseas.
Okay, tell us a little bit about training. Did you do any weapons training?
Not much down there. On that little gun that Dora Miller shot.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
Did you fire rifles or?
Oh yeah, we had rifles. Yeah, 5 rifles. Yeah, we had them. Right.
Okay.
So 5 of them.
Did you know how to fire a rifle?
Yeah, cause I used to do a lot of hunting.
Oh, sure, on the farm, huh?
Yeah,
you
with the
grew up
farm,
on a
man.
farm.
That was fresh meat. Then killing them rabbits.
Sure, that all helped. Huh? A lot of physical training and marching and that kind of stuff.
I mean, when I got to Bainbridge.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we march and.
Well, if you've been working on the farm, you were in pretty good shape. That
Yeah,
couldn't have been too hard.
I was in good shape. I could handle it.
How about swimming? Did they?
Well, you see, by being on the farm, you know, they had them creeks down there. You know, we boys would go down there, and that's how we swim in the creek, you know. and in shallow water, you know. So I got in the farm. When I got in the Navy, it wasn't too bad. Yeah, it wasn't too bad.
Did you have to pass a test or something?
Yeah,
What was the test like?
The test was like, they be sure you could learn how to swim in the Navy. And then to qualify, you had to swim so many feet, you know, and one thing you had to do, you had to be able to pull off your pants in the water and flip it around and make a float out of it.
Oh, so you had to take your pants off, put it over your head, get it out of the water, and fill it up with air.
Yeah, fill it up with air. And then make her, in case, you know, then make a life jacket out of it.
Yeah, an impromptu life jacket.
Right, make a life jacket out of it, right, that's right.
Did you have to jump off the platform or anything?
Yeah, you had to jump off the platform into the water and dive.
Did you dive or jump feet first?
Well, no, we had to learn how to dive.
Right.
Yeah, dive, right, okay. Dive in the water.
About how long were you up in Maryland? You know, 2 months?
Oh, more than 2 months.
Okay.
Yeah, more than 2 months, I believe around 3 months, so
Okay.
more, right,
Yeah.
right.
Now, when you were up there, were you in an all-black unit then? Was your unit segregated up there in Maryland?
Oh yeah, man, yeah. Everything segregated back then.
Okay, were the instructors white or black, or were your NCO?
Now the instructor was white in the head. One had 2 blacks, and the rest of them white. Some of the guys had college education and things like that, you know. And there was had 2 white instructors, but the other was white.
How did they treat you? Was there much difference between the white units and the black units? Or?
Well, you see, all had a white and black units, but the overs, they, treated pretty good because they had the black instructors under them. You see the point, right? Right. So this.
And the only thing you knew is your unit, I guess. Huh?
Right.
Wait, now you were in a barracks, a permanent barracks building up there?
Yeah, we did all the blacks. Because, had barracks together, right?
Okay, so was that a section of the barrack? Several barracks together were all black, and then other ones were all white.
Right,
I see.
Right,
Okay.
Right.
And you say you didn't go off base much up there?
No, I didn't go off base much up there. Right.
How much did you get paid? Do you remember?
Let me see what was that I got paid.
Not a whole lot, I bet.
I didn't get to make call. You see, I took out a musket, took out so much to go back home for my parents, like that. So
you sent most of your pay home.
Yeah, my pay home, right.
And you didn't have much to begin with.
No.
Understand that. That.
I sent back home to my grandmother and grandfather.
Okay, well, you were on base. Did they have a place for you? Was there a recreation center or a PX or a BX or a beer hall or something like that?
They had a recreation center.
Yeah.
Right, a small recreation for the guys that drink beer and stuff like that. Right.
Okay. How about, did you pull any guard duty or KP or stuff like that?
Yeah, I pulled guard duty, pulled guard duty.
What were you guarding?
Well, that's in training.
Yeah.
Yeah, in training, right, in training, right.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. All right, so now you finished basic, or your boot camp. Did you get a chance to go home on leave before?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was on leave before we left out.
So you came back in that white uniform, and,
man.
but you didn't have your brown shoes, did you?
Came back in somebody's lap.
You didn't have your tan shoes on, did you?
No. And black shoes, but I got kind of got kind of used to it, you know.
Yeah.
I had to
You
get
do.
used to
Yeah.
it.
No choice,
No
right?
choice to get used to it.
Okay.
Right.
Learn how to fold all those clothes up to get them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, yes.
All right. After you finished leave, where did you report to?
After I finished leave, I came back home, and then reported back to the base, and then we was being shipped out.
Where were you shipped to?
Well, they shipped us out overseas.
Okay. What did you do? Go to Norfolk to pick up a ship?
Norfolk, right.
Norfolk Naval
Virginia,
Base.
pick up the ship, right.
In Virginia.
Right,
Okay.
Virginia, pick up the ship.
Okay. Do you know? Did you know what you were going to do when you got to Norfolk, or?
No, didn't know what we were going to do till we got there.
And did they assign you to a ship, or were you just a replacement being transported somewhere?
Well, what decided I was transported and to Guam. Yeah.
Okay, so you got put in. How did you get? What kind of ship was that? Was that a transport ship or?
Yeah. Let me see. Let me get now. After we were after we on the aircraft carrier when we got over there.
So you got on an aircraft carrier at Norfolk.
Yeah, right.
I see. Okay.
And went Guam, and then
You went through the Panama Canal.
yeah, to the Panama Canal, right.
Okay.
And then we got on another ship.
Did you have any duties on the ship when you were going to Guam? Or?
Yeah, same thing, you know, waiting on food.
Were you a mess steward at this point in time? You worked in the galley?
Yeah, I worked in the galley, right.
Gotcha,
In the galley,
okay,
right.
all right.
They stood at that time, right.
So you got over to Guam, and I guess they were getting ready to invade Japan at this point in time.
Right. We was.
Okay.
Right. We went on there to patrol it, you know.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But so you were over there, part of the fleet that was getting ready to go into Japan,
Right.
but Japan surrendered then, right?
Right.
Do you
I was over there when it surrendered.
Do you remember what happened that day that they announced that Japan had surrendered?
Oh man, yeah, I can remember now. We like to turn over the ship. Well, we cooked and everything, hooped and hollered and everything, man. That was a great time,
I think you were telling me you went in there and cooked all the best stuff you could
Oh
find.
yeah, man, we ate like I don't know what.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's funny. When VJ come aboard, we ate like I don't know what. I tell you, we really did, right.
Well, now the war's over. Did you think you were coming home?
Well, I didn't know when.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, right. After we got over there, and we was over there for a while. After the war was over, you know, and there placed us over there, and then we had they had us in well, I call them barracks, but the building was set up for the squad, you know, right? And we stayed over there.
And this was on Hawaii?
Yeah, right.
In Hawaii, okay.
Right, Hawaii.
So you were still on this aircraft carrier?
Huh?
You were still on the aircraft carrier?
Well, on the aircraft carrier, we got off the aircraft carrier after the war.
I see.
Yeah, after the war, right, And then we was stationed over there for a while.
Okay.
Yeah,
So when you're on the aircraft carrier, you were in Air Transport Evacuation Squadron number 1.
Yeah.
But then when you got back to Hawaii, they took you off the crew?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me about what a steward does on an aircraft carrier. Tell me about that kind of living. What did you do?
The same thing. He prepared food and
Were you a cook, or were you, did you help prepare or clean up? Or?
Well, I mostly cleaned up. See that the cooking was dead, you know, and the cleanup was dead.
The more senior guys were the cooks. And,
Right.
Did you serve the officers food, lunch and dinner and stuff like that, or how did that work?
Said, did I do it now?
Did you take trays of food to people, or?
Well, no, what we did, we set the food up.
I see.
Yeah, set the food up for them, you know.
And then they just came through and picked
they
it up.
came through, right, and get the food, yeah.
And it was on metal trays or dishes and silverware?
Yeah, silverware, right. We had a table there, you know, and kind of like a restaurant, you see. Right.
Like a buffet almost.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Right.
Well, when you were, what kind of duty hours did you have?
Well, the duty hours was, after we fixed food, you know, then we was free.
Okay.
Yeah, free, right.
Until the next meal.
Yeah, next meal, right.
So you had a day that was broken up.
Right. No,
Did you work every day in the galley?
Huh?
Did you work every day in the galley?
Yeah, every day. Yeah, right.
No days off.
Right.
Okay. When you were before the war before the war ended, you know, you must have had some general quarters duties. You know, when they called a general quarters alert.
In general quarters, then we go down and had this 60 millimeter.
20 millimeter.
20 millimeter.
20 or 40,
right.
yeah.
We go down and man that.
So you were part of a gun crew, anti-aircraft gun crew, essentially.
Right.
Had you had any training of that before you got to the ship, or did they just?
Yeah, they gave us train that on the base before we left.
Okay.
Right.
So what was your job?
My job was as steward.
On a gun crew. Did you aim it, or did you carry ammo, or what did you do?
Well, they taught us how to do it.
Okay.
But you know, we never did get a chance to do it. Right.
So you practiced everything, but you never had to use it.
Right.
Perfect. Okay.
And the cats of that and stayed over there in Guam about a year. Then I volunteered for a year to stay over there.
Okay.
Yeah, I volunteered for a year to stay there because
Guam or Hawaii now?
Well, I left Hawaii, went to Guam.
I got you.
Yeah,
Okay.
went to Guam. And what happened, I tell you the truth, when I got on the ship, and then we go on invade Tokyo, then I found out that, then I volunteered for shore duty. And then got on there and the war ended. I wanted to stay on the ship, but I had to volunteer to go on shore duty, got messed up again. So then they dropped us off over there on Guam. Yeah, so then that's where I stayed on Guam until I got discharged to come back home. Well, we went to Guam and Saipan and Tinian. Them places
after the war.
Yeah, right.
And this was again on that aircraft carrier.
Right.
Was there segregated facilities for eating on the aircraft carrier?
Yeah, man, you know, everything was segregated then.
How about sleeping quarters? Where did you sleep?
Huh?
Where did you sleep?
In the barracks.
No, on the ship.
On the ship. Well, we slept in well, some of it was low deck, you know, and some of it was higher than others, you know.
Well, the bunks are stacked up, right?
Right.
How many guys in a room?
Well, man, it had about, in a room had about 3 bunks.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 bunks in a room, right.
Okay. You were telling me too, you learned a little bit of a trade when you were in the service.
Yeah. Well, you see, what happened before I went in, my grandfather, you know, he had he go to the barber shop and, you know, to get all the hair cut off. So he told me one day, he said, boy, he said, I'll go to the barber shop and get a bald head cut off. Said, if I get some clippers, Sarah, can you cut it off? I said, yeah, Bob, I can cut your hair. So he bought some clippers, you know, and I just cut all his hair off. But I use sense, you know. I go to the barber shop. I go to the barber shop, you know, and sit there and look how they cut different haircuts, you know. And they cut different haircuts, so I look at them, you know. So when I get ready to cut Pa's hair, I cut one of them haircuts I saw in the barber shop before I cut it all off, you know. And I cut they go to the haircut, and I sit there and look at him, you know, and they had with the haircut called anus and square, you know. So I look at them, how they cut, and so and I cut Pa's hair. Then I learned how to cut each one of those, you know, before I cut all of it off. So when I was in the
So you practiced on him.
Yeah, I practiced on him, and I got good on it. Dr. Johnson, they had run a drugstore, and they had hair kind of like y'all, you know. They was kind of light skinned, they had hair kind of like y'all, you know. So I cut one of his boy hair one time, you know. I kind of messed it up, but I kind of gave him a pretty good haircut, you know. And so then when I got in service and got over there to Guam, they didn't have nobody to cut hair. And so I told them, I can cut hair. And see, we can cut hair? Yeah, I said, I can cut hair. And so, okay then. So I cut them black boys' hair, you know, and cut them. And what they did, they made me a little barbershop out there, you know. I didn't have to be in the kitchen no more.
That became your duty, huh?
I had moved up. They made me a little barbershop out there, over there in Guam and everything, and give me all the tools that I needed, clippers and all that, you know. And so I cut all the boys' hair, you know, this cartoon.
Did they give you any tips?
Huh?
Did they give you any tips?
Yeah, the boy, you know, only tip I got was over Guam, you know, when the guys on the ship was import there, you know. And see, then I couldn't have, they give me a tip, but them boys are demons. I didn't get no tip from them.
they knew you.
Yeah, they knew you do it. They give me tips, right? And the white guys, you know, they come over there off the ship, and I kind of mess them up.
It took you a while to learn how to do that, huh?
Yeah. But first thing about it, you know, the boys used to tease me. I had cut the Johnson boys' hair, and they was kind of like your hair. I had cut them, but I hadn't got good on it, you know. And so the boys said that our yeoman, you know, he come in there when they got my plates all fixed up there to cut hair, you know. He said, I'm gonna let you cut my hair. He thought I was real Bobby, you know. I said, boy, this I looked at his head, you know, and everything, and so I said, well, I thought about it, I had cut the Johnson boys' hair. They had hair like yours. So when I finished the haircut, he said, oh boy, this. Yeah, tried to encourage me, you know. But the boy lad said, he let the guy put on a pool because he wanted to go in the cafeteria and eat with his hat on. By that, they came out and messed him up so bad that he wanted to eat with his hat.
It took you a while to get good at that, huh?
Yeah.
That's funny.
But I finally got good at it, but I could do a little better. Okay. But they give me all kind of tools, and you know they let me bring them tools back home.
Is that right?
Yeah, all kind of barber tools.
When did you come back? When did you get out of the service? When did you leave Guam, man?
I leave Guam. Let me see when it was. Well, I volunteered on that for a year, and I left there. What it was, I believe, in 50, last 56, somewhere along.
46.
46, I mean,
yeah.
yeah.
You got out in December of 46.
Right, yeah, right.
How did you get back to the States? When did you flew back? Huh?
Yeah, flew back, right.
Well, that's
Flew back to the state, to Frisco, California. Yeah.
And then train back to South Carolina.
Yeah, I took train back to South Carolina, right.
Okay.
Right.
Where were you discharged? Do you remember?
In Frisco,
Okay.
right, Frisco.
Okay.
Yeah, and they give me my pay and put me on the train and come on back to South Carolina.
Did you notice much difference when you came back from this to the States? You know, had much change since you had left.
No,
Not
no
much,
change.
huh?
No change, right? No change, right?
So you came back to South Carolina then? Did you go back on the farm or what?
Yeah, I went back to the farm. But one thing, I had a better trade. I come back to the farm with the tools they gave me, you know, and I went to a man, Jack Dillman had a barber shop here in Aiken here, and I went there and I told him I could cut hair. So I went there, so went to cutting hair with him, and then cutting hair. Then I had to go to Columbia to take the test. So it's something to Columbia, took the test, and I got my license, barber license, you see. And then what I do then, cut hair. I worked on the farm with granddaddy, so I cut hair on Saturdays, Friday nights, and Saturdays, and then work on the farm with granddaddy. Yeah.
Well, eventually you started your own construction business, didn't you?
Well, that was after, when I went to Columbia, I didn't start construction business until after I got the money and they gave this must not pay and they give you schooling. See, and you could go to school, you know, to send to school. So then I went to Business Academy.
Oh, on a GI Bill?
Yeah, GI Bill. Yeah, GI Bill.
Yeah.
Right.
So Venice Academy was again an all black. Was that a Quaker school?
Yeah,
too?
all black then. Right.
Yeah.
All right. So I went there, and I took up the trade, laying brick. Yeah, I took up the trade, laying brick and carboning and stuff like that, you know. And then when I did that, then I come kind of moving out. I did all that under the schooling they gave me, you know. Right? I got all I could out of that.
Sure.
Right. So then I got that, and then I went to school and I finished. I took my test back there, and I got my license, and then I started moving out. Yeah, I started moving out, right. And got my business license after I graduated. Because I laid bricks a long time. And then after I laid bricks and finished cement and all sorts of stuff like that, and went into business, and then I got with Mac Duffy. He was a contractor, and an old man Steward. And so under old man Steward, I was going to getting the job. He said, I'll tell you what I do. He said, I was going to school at night. He said, I'll tell you what I do. You can work with me and get all the training you want. And I signed to train you. So he did that.
So you became an apprentice, basically.
Right. So that was a good thing, you know. I didn't have to go to school then, and then I went on the I went on the job there. I was going to school, and I went on the job there after I got married. When I got married, you know, to get me a job, and he was building a house over there. And old man Frank Norris, he was laying the brick. And so I stopped by there. see him building a house, I stopped by there, asked him, did, need some labor. I got my wife and everything. He said, man, stood, sir, well, what can you do? I said, well, he said, I need a mortar mixer. I said, need a mortar mixer? He said, yeah, I need a mortar mixer. I said, okay, I'll do that. So man, Frank Norris was laying brick for him. And he had got kind of old then, so I went to make a mortar for man Frank Norris, and man Frank Norris said, boy, you need to learn how to lay brick. I said, I do? He said, yeah. So he said, I'll show you. So I lay brick, mix up mortar, and then I mix water him, then get on the wall, and he would show me how to lay brick. And so old man Steward come by there one day and saw me laying brick. He said, you want to learn how to lay brick? I said, yeah. He said, well, I tell you what, you can go ahead on and learn. So what I do, I make a big batch of mortar, and I put it up there and lay brick. Put that for him to lay brick, then go there lay brick. Okay, he got another brick mason. He got another brick mason, Got another brick mason, then what I do, I make up a big batch of mortar and get up there and lay brick with both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And after I did that, I went just kept on going until I got to do pretty good.
Yeah.
I got to do pretty good.
Well, let me take you back to your World War II days. Did you ever see a USO show? Did they ever have any entertainment for you guys anyway?
Oh, yeah, man. And we'd be sitting out there and they have them girls come out there, and give the chauffeur, man, you couldn't hold them boys down. Yeah. Yeah, man, they give them chauffeurs, and them boys hadn't seen no girls and I don't know when, Yes, yes.
Do you think that your experience during the war changed you any?
Well, I tell you, it learned me a lesson.
It
did learn me a lesson, right. And actually, I tell you the truth, it was a great experience for me, and also it was a help for me also, right? Because on the job bills and everything, I was able to, came on back home and went back to school and got my high school diploma, and then went and got Edison, got a little college, and it was just an asset for me, right?
Yeah.
Because all of that wasn't available for me when I left. You see, I had to pay for it.
Yeah.
But I came back, and then that was assets to me because I could do it, under the job bill, right? So actually, I think by the time I said I hated to go, my grandfather would go, but I figured the Lord sent me there for futurizing. I get a better life because I stayed there on that farm and everything, and I wouldn't got the opportunity, and I didn't have the money to get it, and I wouldn't have the opportunity to get advanced like I did,
Yeah.
When I come out, I got the Muscanaut pay and the job bill and all that, then I could focus on the future, But I had something to do with backing up, right? So I'm grateful that I went. I'm grateful that I went, right? Because I look at now and now get the veterans, they got a little opportunity, and things like that. So
Well, that
it's
GI
a
Bill.
blessing from God.
Yeah, that GI Bill sure did a lot for a lot of people.
Yeah, it did. The GI Bill for me, right?
Listen, let me ask you one last question here. Two questions. One, first one is, do you have anything else that you think we ought to get down here for history? Anything that you want to tell us about that we haven't talked about?
Well, that's about it, because see, after I come in and I got lined up in school and got my contractor license and things like that, then I could move forward. I could move forward.
Is there any lessons that you think today's generation could learn from what you and your generation went through during World War II?
Oh, the lesson they need to learn is to be willing to learn. Right? Be willing to learn. See, back in then days, the guys didn't have, I tell you, the kids now, they got so much to be involved in till they think everything need to be handed down to them. But back in that day, you know, you had to scuffle everything you got. And I think that's the trouble with the generation now. I mean, the parents in better shape and get them what they want and things like that, you know. Now, take like me, before I went in the service, I worked on the farm, and I had an uncle in Florida. He worked it to the packing place where they pack all kind of fruit and ship out, and from one thing to another. So in the wintertime, they had packed oranges and apples and stuff, you know, and ship out to different places, you know. Of course, see, Florida was the orange grove, you know, and so what I do, he told me, told Paul, said, thank you, told Paul, said, let him come down there and, you know, during the Christmas season, said, be high then because, you know, it was a kind of rush time, you know. And I'll go down there and stay a couple of months, you know, and work with him down there. So I bought Paul a mule down there. Went down there and made enough money, and one of the mules killed the other one.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, the main thing, you know. Paul said, you know how the horse lay down and wallow and things like that, you know, and turn over. And they were out playing, I guess, and kicking and playing. And Paul said, must have kicked him in the chest with his horse, and he died.
Wow.
And so when I got back, had a little money, probably had no mule, I had to take my money and buy a mule.
Well,
I get back thinking about, and I went down there and come back. But you know, I come back and to give my grandpa half of the money, and he took part of it and bought me a car.
Wow.
Yeah, bought me a car, right. And I had a car to drive around in, right.
That was big doings for those
That
days.
big doing for me then, man. I was strutting on that then, you know. But when I got out of the army, you see, when I got out of the army, I took my mustard. I saved my money. I was sitting home. I sent it to Mama, but my money, I saved it, you know. And when I saved it and I come home, man, I bought me a Mercury.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I was stretched out because I wouldn't spend no money.
Well, good for you, good for you.
Yeah, I wouldn't spend no
So
money.
it taught you the value of hard work, didn't it?
Yeah, man, I wouldn't spend no money. Them guys would go to Tokyo and play that and spend money, man. I'd sit up in the barracks. I wouldn't spend no money because I know what I had to do to get back home.
Amen.
Yeah.
Well, sir, I certainly appreciate you participating in our program, and we want to thank you for your service to our country.
Yeah, well, I want to thank you all for volunteers. In other words, you can tell some of the young people what the old folks went through it.
You know, they don't know enough.
They don't know enough.
You guys did amazing things.
But the thing is, they ain't going to listen.
Yeah, they will. When they get older, they'll listen.
Yeah, but it'll be too late then.
Yeah.
And I tell you the truth, the kids down, and when I tell my kids, grandkids, you know, something, they think I'm telling them a joke, you know.
Well, I tell you what, when you get this DVD back, you make copies of that and give it to them and make it required listening.
Right, I am, right. And they laugh at me.
You tell them, I said they had to listen to it.
Yeah, I get to tell them about sometime, you know, and I tell them about how long I've been working, started 6 years old. They don't believe it.
Yeah, different times.
They say, how in the world you can be working, look at the kid 6 years old now, you know, how in the world you granddad, how will you do that? I said, well, I had to do it.
Yeah.
I had to do it, right. But,
Well, sir, again, thank you very much.
all right.